Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, let us start with a new lesson in standard 9th English, and the name of the lesson for today is lesson number 4.3 from your textbook, and the name of the lesson is intellectual rubbish. Now if you talk about the lesson and if you talk about the points in this lesson, the lesson as such is an essay written by a very famous author called as Bertrand Russell. In this essay, he has tried to bring out the kind of misconceptions and the kind of false ideas and false beliefs that we people have in our minds. Okay, and there are certain things that even when we know that they are wrong, we are not ready to let go of them. So there are so many points and there are so many things which you can learn from this particular essay, intellectual rubbish, and you can apply it to your life in order to make the quality of your life as well as the quality of the life of people around you better. Alright, now when we come to the story, when we come to the essay, we will discuss the points which are there in the essay. But let us start by beginning with understanding the meaning of the name or the title which has been given to this particular essay. So what is the name of the essay, children? The name of the essay is Intellectual, that is a person with high mental capacities. So who is a person who is very intellectual? He is a person who knows to think on a higher level, who knows to act on a higher level, who has got a lot more skills as far as his mind, his brain, logical thinking, etc. is concerned. So the title of the essay is made up of two parts, two words. One of the words is intellectual. Now this word intellectual has been combined with a word which might be just opposite in meaning to the word. That is a rubbish. So just like the word intellectual has got high qualities associated with it, rubbish could mean something which is useless or which has got no value. For example, if someone says something wrong and something which you are not agreeing with and something which you know is wrong, what do you say? You will say rubbish. That is rubbish. Don't talk like that. Okay. So see, the name of the essay itself is a little, you can say, funny. Why? Because there are two words which are in opposite in meaning. You can't call them as opposite words, but you can say that they have meanings which are different from each other, meanings which do not go with each other. Okay, so intellectual rubbish means rubbish or values or thoughts which are, you can say, useless and which have been created by people who are intellectual. Alright, so that is the meaning of intellectual rubbish that the author or the writer wants to highlight. So hope this idea is clear to you. Now let us move on and let us do some exercises from the warming up part, which will make the lesson much more easier to understand. So let us go to this. This is an exercise from your textbook from the warming up part. It is on page number 93 of your English textbooks. So whenever we start a lesson here, children, it is highly recommended that you keep your English textbooks open and come to the page where the lesson is there, so we can follow what we are doing with each other. Okay, you know what I am doing, I am on which page, and what are the idea which I am going to talk about now, etc. So this exercise you will find here, exercise number 2 in your warming up part. What do you notice about the following pairs of words? So I am going to read the pairs of words for you, and then you think what we are going to notice about these pairs of words. So see, act naturally. Then you have liquid gas. Then the next pair of word is open secret. The next is sound of silence. Then you have sweet sorrow, original copy, only choice, growing smaller. So some of these words, for example, the word original copy, the word only choice, growing smaller, we often use it when we speak also. So let us take the words one by one now here. So act and naturally. See, someone who's acting is not natural. And when someone is natural, that person is not acting. So these two words are, somehow having opposite ideas. What about liquid and gas? So funny, isn't it? Because these are two different states of matter, liquid as well as gas. They cannot go together. Open and secret. So something which is a secret means that no one knows about it. And something which is open means people know about it. So how can a secret be open? What about sound of silence? Silence itself means absence of any kind of sound. So how can silence have sound? Sweet and sorrow. Sorrow is something which makes your heart cry. Okay? How can the sorrow be sweet? Sweet is something which we want. Okay? But sorrow is something which we do not want. So how can sorrow be sweet? Original copy. Now see, something which is a copy cannot be original, and something which is original cannot be a copy. Only and choice. Only means only one, and choice means many. And growing smaller. Something cannot grow and at the same time become smaller. So what are these words? All these words, you will see, they are opposite in meaning to each other. Now there is one more exercise here where we will try to use a contradictory word in the block which is missing there. So what a dash mess you've got us into. So now I will use certain words according to my vocabulary or my choice of words. You can use words according to your choice of words. But the thing is that just like we saw this particular pair of words, in the same way, the word that you're using should have contradictory meaning to the next word. Okay? So what a dash mess you've got us into. So I will write beautiful mess. You can write some other word also of your own. Okay? Next. It's a dash imitation of a diamond necklace. A dash imitation. So, imitation means something which is not real. So, if I write real imitation of a diamond necklace, then the ideas are contradictory. My trip to Matheran was a dash holiday. So, now we want a word which will contradict with holiday. So, when you are on a holiday, what is the mood that you are in? You are pretty relaxed. You do not have any work to do. You do not have any studies to do. Okay, even when your mother is on a holiday, she is relaxed because she doesn't have to do any household work. She doesn't have to cook, etc. So, a holiday is usually relaxed. But I cannot use the word relaxed over here because I have to use a contradictory word. So, let me use the word hectic. Alright. So, you think what word will you use for a holiday which is not at all relaxed? Then, with such heavy makeup, she looks dash ugly. So, I would like to use the word pretty over here. She looks pretty ugly. Now, pretty and ugly are contradictory in meaning. Look at the next one. A dash crowd gathered to see the magic show. A what crowd? A small crowd. Now, can a crowd be small? If it is a small crowd, it means it is not a crowd at all. Okay? A crowd means many people. A big group of people. So, what have we done? We have added contradictory words over here. You can, let me repeat, add words of your own choice. But remember, It should contradict the word after it. So, when we use such contradictory words, contrasting words that go together, then they are examples of a language device called oxymoron. Now remember, when we talk about devices in language, we usually learn it when we're learning poetry. We talk about figures of speech, okay, and we've learnt about so many different figures of speech. Like we learnt about simile, metaphor, so many other figures of speech. So here is one more language device that we're going to talk about in this lesson, and that is oxymoron. So now, what is an oxymoron? When you're using two opposite words or contrasting words, but they go together also, they are usually used together, then these are all examples of an oxymoron. Okay, so now let us again look at some examples of oxymoron over here. So it is a figure of speech in which two contradictory terms are combined. So two contradictory terms are used together, and usually people use these two words together. So we are not forcing the words together, but it is usually used when we speak. You can also say that a phrase in which two words with opposite meaning appear side by side is an example of oxymoron. So when there is a phrase, that is a group of words in which two words with opposite meanings appear adjacent or side by side to each other, then it is an example of an oxymoron. Let us look at various examples now of oxymorons. You see, just like we said open secret, here we have known secret. Orderly confusion. When something is orderly, means something is very disciplined. A process is very disciplined. So there will be no confusion. When there is discipline, there is no confusion. Deafening silence. Silence means when there is no sound. And when does a situation get deafening? Deafening means there is so much sound that you might go deaf. It might damage your eardrum. Okay, so see how these contrasting words are used together. Deafening and silence. The next one is confirmed rumor. A rumor is something which we call as an afwa in Hindi. So you really don't know whether it is true or not, and no one is able to confirm a rumor, but you're calling a rumor as confirmed. And the next one is awfully nice. Awful is an adjective which is used for things which are not good. Okay, I had an awful experience. When I say awful, it means bad. When I say awesome, it means good. But here I am saying awfully nice. So it is contrasting ideas. Alright, so these are some examples of oxymorons. Let us look at some more. So you can read them, you can pause the video and read them and try to remember them. So you have big baby, you have open secret, passive aggressive, original copy we've already seen it, alone together, deafening silence also we've seen, clearly confused. We say this many a times. I saw that he was clearly confused. So clearly and confused are opposite words, and the last one is living dead. Okay, so these are all various examples of oxymoron, and here we have come to the end of our warming up exercise. Now we will move on and we will start the lesson. So when we start a lesson, we will look at the person who has authored the lesson, but before that, let us talk about why oxymorons are important. Why are they important? They're important because they allow us to be creative in our descriptions. Okay, they allow us to add some spice to the words that we are writing. They allow us to make our work a little interesting. That is why oxymorons are important. Okay, so now let's come to the lesson and let's take a look at the author. So his name is Bertrand Russell. He has written a lot of work in English. Most of them are essays, and there are some short stories as well as novels. So Bertrand Russell, he was a British mathematician and social critic, and is the most widely read philosopher of the last century. Philosopher means, when someone talks about philosophy, means someone is talking about the way you live your life. Okay, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1950, and if you see, he lived quite a long life. All right, he was born in 1872 and he passed away 98 years later. So he lived to a ripe old age of 98, and he contributed a lot to the industry, to the mathematical field, okay, to the field of socialism, as well as he was also a very great philosopher. So this was about Bertrand Russell. Now we will take a look at his essay. So now Bertrand Russell is talking about human beings. This entire essay is about human beings who are prone to formulate foolish opinions. We form opinions many a times about people. Okay, not always, but he says at some point of their life, though not always, he says. Okay, to substantiate this, he cites the example of Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, who made an announcement that women have fewer teeth than men. So what did the Greek philosopher Aristotle announce? That women have lesser teeth as compared to men, fewer teeth. Now this is a totally false, absolutely false. Okay, now before making this announcement, what Aristotle could have done was, he could have simply asked his wife to open her mouth while he counted the number of teeth that she had. But did he say that? Did he do that? No, he did not do. He just went on to make this statement that women have less number of teeth as compared to men. So this is the mistake that we all make. We just form foolish opinions, and we allow ourselves to talk foolish things without checking, okay, or without gaining enough experience about things. So this is the main idea. And if you read the textbook, if you read the essay which is given in the textbook, you will see that he has started with Aristotle's example, and he has gone on and has given a number of other examples also. So let me try to take you through this. So we will look at the examples which he is given, and we will try and understand why we are not supposed to be dogmatic. Okay, so Intellectual Rubbish, it is an essay by Bertrand Russell. He tells us, or he tries to give us an insight, an idea about how to prevent developing a dogmatic attitude in life. Now, what is the meaning of dogmatic, or what is this dogmatism? It is the idea where we insist on the truth of one's opinion without evidence. So I will say something and I will say that what I'm saying is right. I am not going to try to find out any kind of evidence to see whether what I'm saying is right, but I will just insist that I am right. And we have seen these kind of people all around us. People who will not listen to others, people who will not want to agree with what you're saying, and people who will always want to argue in spite of being on the wrong side. So Intellectual Rubbish is a kind of a light which Bertrand Russell has thrown on such people, and he has also told us how we can improve ourselves, how we can let go of this dogmatism. So see, this is an essay. It's essay form. It is a brilliant, humorous satire on some of the prevalent notions accepted and practiced by intellectual minds. So see, intellectual minds are practicing this, and prevalent notions means rubbish according to Bertrand Russell. He says, what is prevalent notion? Prevalent notion means something which we think that it is right. Okay, he's saying that is rubbish, and this rubbish is practiced not by common people but by intellectual minds like clergy. Clergy means the priests, philosophers, scientists, or even eminent personalities whose views have a considerable influence upon common man. So we common people, we tend to follow the ideas given to us by people who are famous, people who are in power, okay, people who have a position in life. And when they tell us something, we tend to believe them and we tend to blindly follow them also. So this is what should not happen according to Bertrand Russell. Alright, now let us take a look at the various examples that he has given. So Russell in this essay states that human beings are prone to formulate foolish opinions. Not always, but sometimes in their life. For example, let us repeat this. Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, made a dogmatic pronouncement that women have fewer teeth than men. What he could have done? He could have just checked by telling Mrs. Aristotle to open her mouth while he counted her teeth. So it was not rocket science. Okay, so this is one example that he begins with, and he points out. Now see, Aristotle was a great philosopher, and even he could have these kind of dogmatic ideas. That is what he wants to tell us. Then he points an example where he says that people feel that hedgehogs, now hedgehog is a kind of an animal, they eat black beetles. That is the idea which has been told to generations of people. That now see, these animals, these things are not an Indian concept, children. Now since the writer is a British writer, so most of these animals you will find not in India. Okay, so but we will take the examples which he has given. Now he is saying that people have told him that hedgehogs, now hedgehog is a big animal and beetle we all know it is a small black beetle. He has been told that hedgehogs, they eat beetles, and he has believed it. Okay, so if he was writing a book on the habit of hedgehogs, what he will do, without writing it blindly, he will try and check whether really hedgehogs like to eat beetles. So he will not behave like Aristotle, he's saying. He will not blindly make the statement, even though he has been told for years that hedgehogs eat beetles. So that is what he wants to say, that if I am writing a book, or if I am an elder in my house, okay, if there are people who listen to me, then what should I do before saying something? I should think twice, thrice. I should try and see whether what I am saying is right. Alright, the ideas which are given in this particular lesson are a little difficult, but I guess I will try to make it easy for you. So after you see the video, read the lesson once from your textbook. I'm sure you will understand what the author wants to say. Now he also says that for generations, okay, we always have some way or the other of arguing with people. If someone is giving an opinion which is opposite to your opinion, you immediately get angry, isn't it? Many a times you must have seen this. If someone talks about something which you do not agree with, you immediately get angry. Now when you get angry, when someone says something, it is a sign that you are aware that you also don't have any proper reason for believing in what you believe. If you have a strong reason for believing in what you believe, then you will not get angry whatever anyone says. Okay? For example, see, if someone says 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, you surely know that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So will you waste your time and energy arguing with this person and trying to tell him, no, 2 and 2 is 4? You will start feeling pity for that person, isn't it? You will start thinking, arey, this guy doesn't know anything, and see, he's making a fool of himself. So at that time, did you get angry? No, because you were sure that you know what is right. So when you know that what you're saying is right, you will not argue. You will instead feel bad for the other person. Now if someone says that Iceland is on the equator, again you will feel pity rather than getting angry, because the person you are talking to does not know any maths and he doesn't know any geography also. But you know maths, you know geography, you know that Iceland is on the poles, and you know that 2 plus 2 is 4. That is why you will give up You will not get into the controversy at all. Okay, so that is what Bertrand Russell tries to tell us, that we should have knowledge. If we have knowledge, then we will not get into too many unnecessary arguments and spoil relations. Okay, then he gives an idea sometimes of how, he gives an example sometimes of how instead of learning something good from others, we end up learning something bad from others also. He gives this example of China and the Manchus. Now the Manchus, they invaded China, and in China at that time there was a kind of a false belief that a woman should have small feet. So you can see here the woman has definitely worn small shoes, but that it is not natural, isn't it? There is something wrong with the foot. Why the women were supposed to have small feet? Because it was said that women who have got small feet are beautiful, and they were considered to be good luck, bringers of good luck. So in the 17th century, the Manchus, they conquered China. At that time, there was this custom in China, and there was this process called as foot binding. So see, they used to literally bend and break the woman's fingers and tie up her legs forcefully so that her foot never grew. So can you see? It was a very cruel process. So now the Manchus, instead of coming and changing this, they also adopted this process for their women. So see, something which was wrong, instead of changing it, you go along with the wrong. You agree along with the wrong. In turn, on the contrary, the Manchus, they used to have long pigtails. Pigtails means this kind of long choti that you have. Now the Chinese, what they did is, the Chinese started wearing these long pigtails long after the Manchus went. So you see here what has happened. Here, instead of learning something good from others, what they have done is, they've adopted the wrong practices, which is again very, very wrong according to Bertrand Russell. He also gives us an example of Mahatma Gandhi, where he says that Mahatma Gandhi was not much in favor of railways, steamboats, machinery, etc. He was actually not in favor of the Industrial Revolution at all. Why? Because he believed in doing work for yourself using your own hands. But because of Industrial Revolution, because of the big factories which came up, many people lost their livelihoods. So Mahatma Gandhi, in a way, he was not an advocate of the Industrial Revolution. But we have met people who are too much in favor of modern technique and modern, you can say, science. So we have never had an opinion to meet people like Mahatma Gandhi and know their ideas. Okay? So sometimes you feel that if you meet people with a different mindset, people who have got different thought process than yours, you might gain little knowledge. Alright? And finally, he also points out at this age-old problem that we human beings have. The problem between men and women. So women feel that we are better, and men feel that we are better. Okay, if you ask a man will say that most of the poets and most of the scientists are men. And if you ask a woman, she will say women are much better because most of the criminals are men. So this question is left hanging. But remember, it is not about who is superior or who is inferior. All of us are on the same step. Okay, we all have the same kind of capacities. He also says that we human beings are such a small part of this huge universe. Okay, our planet is in some corner of this universe. So imagine the kind of importance that we have. We don't even exist as far as the universe is concerned. We are, I don't know in which corner of this particular universe, and there might be other people around us in on other planets, in other parts of the universe, who are much more advanced, okay, who are much more intelligent, and who know more about and who are more superior to us. And for them, we might be just like some jellyfish in water. So that is why what we should do is we should have a little bit of self-esteem, but what is more important is that we should never ever think that we are above all, okay, and we should also never ever think that no one can match us. And he also says that some of the things which cause error, some of the things which make us commit mistakes is because of fear. When we have fear, that time we can make mistakes. All right, so this is about the entire lesson. So what does the person who's written the lesson try to tell us? He's trying to tell us that we should try to free our minds from dogmatism, from false beliefs, false notions, false ideas. And how can we do all this? By gaining knowledge. So how can you gain knowledge? He has given us 3 mantras where we can gain knowledge and where we can get rid of all the dogmas that we have. Okay, so what are the 3 things that we should do in order to get rid of all our dogmas? We should, 1, travel. So when you travel to different places, you meet different people, people whose social background, people whose thinking, people whose upbringing, whose customs, religions are different from yours. So you get a new idea, you get a new outlook to life. The second very important thing to get rid of your dogmas, he says, is you should converse. Okay, you should talk to people. You should not argue with people, you should not get into argument, you should not contradict people, but you should converse with people, talk to people, try to understand what they are saying, try to understand their part of the conversation, and always don't get into a conversation thinking that I am right. Okay, so whenever you get into a conversation with someone, whenever you speak to someone, always keep an open mind. Only then you will be able to increase your knowledge and you will be able to get rid of your dogmas. The third most important thing for an open mind is reading. So you have to read. Okay, read not only books which you like, but also read books which are based on an idea which you do not agree with. For example, we all live in India and we believe in democracy. All right, we believe in secularism, we believe in fraternity, brotherhood, etc. So pick up books about Adolf Hitler and see why he was like that. Try to understand his point of view. Maybe he has a point of view. Okay, you do not know unless and until you try to explore. So travel, converse, read. Traveling may not be possible for everyone because it is a little expensive, but conversation and reading, of course, is possible for each one of us. And when you do all this, you will be able to clear all the intellectual rubbish which is there in your mind. Okay, children? So this is as far as the meaning of the essay is concerned. Now I have discussed most of the important points which are there here. Okay, now what you will do is you should try and read it properly. Read the lesson once properly so that you will be able to understand what they are trying to say. Then I will come back next time, children, with the next video on this lesson, and we will discuss whatever is remaining in the lesson in the English workshop part. So that is all for today, children. Thank you so much. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now, what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.